Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the FC Method. We are sticking with the theme of testing, and today we are doing a cadence test. The test is formatted as follows. You're going to have a 20 to 30 minute warm-up depending on whatever helps your legs loosen up and make you feel ready. You're then going to go into 3 10-minute intervals at your low to mid zone 3. This power output is chosen because you want to be able to maintain the effort throughout all 3 intervals pretty easily. And also you don't want to carry too much fatigue into each interval. You want to make sure your heart rate and your legs are starting pretty fresh at that. Between the intervals, 7-minute spin, very easy. Just keep the legs moving, sit up and relax and get ready for that next 10-minute session. In regard to cadence, the ranges you want to choose are 90 plus, 80 to 85, and 70 to 75. You can do them in any order you'd like. I just ended up doing mine from highest to lowest. So going over the results, for interval number 1, I did the 90 to 90 plus cadence range, and I ended up averaging 96 cadence with an average power of 196 and a variability index of 1.01, so the interval was steady throughout in regard to my power output. So looking at my average heart rate, I ended up sitting around 154 with a max heart rate of 164, but it's worth noting the average obviously is going to be the max and the starting heart rate, and my starting heart rate for this interval was 131. So looking at what happened within that 10-minute time span, I hit my average of 154 for the first time at 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the interval, give or take a few seconds of course. And I ended up hitting my max and sitting around that 162 to 164 range for pretty much the 8-minute mark till the end of it. So it was a pretty quick jump, all the way from 131 to 164. And my heart rate didn't really seem to go below 160 for those last 3 or so minutes. Moving into the second interval, I ended up averaging 10 watts lower, but I still had a variability index of 1.01, so the effort was even without, but keep in mind the effort was just a tad bit easier. And that was a user error right there, but again, I averaged 84 cadence on that, and my heart rate ended up being 149 average with a max of 159, but a beginning heart rate of 118. So that was interesting to see because I jumped from 118 to 149 in 2 minutes and 30 seconds roughly. So it was a really quick jump from that super easy spinning to my zone 3 effort. However, I didn't hit my max heart rate of 159 until the last minute, and I never broke the 160 barrier, obviously. So once I hit that 149 average, it was a pretty slow, gradual climb to that max heart rate within the interval. And then lastly, for my final interval, it was the low cadence, which is 70 to 75. My power jumped back up to match the first interval, so 196 average. Again, the variability index was 1.01, so an even power output throughout the 10 minutes. My average heart rate ended up being 152 with a max of 160 and a starting heart rate of 122. So again, we kind of saw that same thing where my heart rate went from 122 to 152 pretty quickly within 2 minutes and 30 seconds. However, from 152 to 160, I didn't see it hit that 160 mark until the last 30 seconds or so. So an even more gradual climb than the 84 range. So with the results out there, I will say I was pretty surprised by this. I wasn't terribly shocked that the highest heart rate came from the highest cadence interval, but I was pretty surprised that arguably my most efficient interval was actually that low cadence range, 70 to 75. I've always kind of defaulted to mid 80s, low 90s. But seeing that I'm actually more efficient at that lower range, I might have to reanalyze how I approach my races. Looking at a race like Oceanside, it's very polarized. The first half is pretty flat and fast, whereas the second half is a few decent climbs, nothing insane, but a few good climbs with some rolling hills. So having that ability to spin a little faster to carry that momentum throughout the course might be something I want to focus on getting closer to the race. Whereas when I get to the later part of the season where I'm racing Steelhead, Boulder, and Waco, much flatter, pancake flat essentially courses, and so that lower cadence where it's a very steady and efficient heart rate it looks like, I want to really zone in on that and master that kind of range. So with all that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed the second episode. Stay tuned for our third episode where we are going to go over my results from my second VLA/VO2/FTP power test.